You son of a bitch.
Bam, 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 bam. Hit you with the drop kick, Marty Jannetty. No, I hit you with the drop kick, Marty Jannetty. No, I hit you with the drop kick, Marty Jannetty. No, I hit you with that drop kick, Marty Jannetty.
Let me do this again.
No, it's live, pal.
Sorry.
You're goddamn right it's live, pal, as I'm coming in way too hot. Welcome into the latest edition of Hot Tag Wrestle Corner. First time in months. We'll give a, you know what? We'll talk about all that shit next show. Next show is a full show. This is a truncated version. If we had a Patreon for this motherfucker, this would be a Patreon version of a show, which would be a little shorter, but extra meat on the bone. You know what I'm saying? But since it's not, this is just getting the ball rolling again to get back into the swing of things here in the studio since it's been a couple months. And once again, we'll explain those reasonings on later shows. We don't have the time to do that today. But with that being said, I'm one half of your host. I am Rob.
I'm Clint.
And this is the latest edition of Hot Tag Wrestle Corner. How you doing there, bro?
Oh, man, after a 2-month hiatus.
There we go. That sounds much better. Speak again.
After a 2-month hiatus, we are back.
Yeah.
And this will be a short predicated show.
Got it. Hey.
If it's a Patreon show, we're going
3 and 4. That's what we needed.
We're going to be giving you 2 pay-per-view recap.
Yeah, today is we're going to recap.
And then the next show will be all the news, all the good stuff that you want to hear about.
We're going to do short news. We got a couple people to put into the gangster lean, and then we're going to recap the 2 latest biggest shows that happened within the last 2 weeks of both companies, both major companies here in America, AEW and WWE. And one of them ties into the world's 3rd biggest wrestling company that's in Japan, because they did AEW versus New Japan. So we'll talk about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, it says wrestling fans should be proud because both shows were fucking awesome. Awesome.
I have a question for you when we get there, so I'll bring it back up once we're there. But right at the moment, since we're not, let's get into this news. Let's start off with the gangster leans, because I figured let's get the sad shit out the way and then we can have fun with the rest of the show. So I'll start off with the first, and we'll save yours because it's way more significant. And not to shit on the guy I'm about to talk about, you know, especially talking about him in his passing. But when you hear the names, you'll understand what I mean. So the first one we're putting in the gangster lean today is Mike Halleck. If you don't know who Mike Halleck is, he was better known as Mantar. He wrestled during the days of WWE in the early 90s, where after the steroid trials and everything, every person had some type of a gimmick, and it was like a job gimmick. Like you had Duke the Dumpster Drozy, or you had Sparkplug Bob Holly, who was a race car driver. Well, Mantar was half man, half Minotaur, I guess.
Yeah, it was odd.
Yeah.
But everybody needed gimmicks.
But either way, so WWE released a statement on the man. WWE is saddened to learn that Mike Halleck, better known to the WWE fans around the world as Mantar, has passed away. Mantar, as I go back into his statement here. Halleck's combination of size and charisma immediately captivated fans around the world as he took to the ring in a giant bullhead to highlight his half man, half minotaur persona. Yeah, it was a minotaur. It looked like a goofy ass looking buffalo. It didn't look intimidating at all. And once again, I'm not trying to shit on the man. I'm just making comments of how it looked when I was a little kid. Halleck spent time in both WWE and ECW, where he faced some of the biggest stars of his generation like Bam Bam Bigelow, Razor Ramon, and Bret Hart. I got a funny Bret Hart story that goes off of Adrian Adonis's Dark Side next week, so make sure you watch it because it's funny. It's not a funny story, but it's something that happens on there. It makes you question some things about Bret, like, didn't know that. So the WWE extends its condolences to Mike Halleck's family, friends, and fans. Let's continue with our other before we both lower them into the gangster lane, or raise them into the gangster lane, I guess I should say, because heaven's up. I don't want to lower anybody into hell. Go ahead, sorry.
Yes, okay. So we also lost the Iron Sheik. Man, one of my favorite guys. Shoot interviews on Hulk Hogan were always funny to me. Funny to me. He's the
you haven't have jabroni clown.
He's the only Iranian champion in WWE history. Born in 1942.
Not to cut you off because you're probably going to miss it. Also an actual real Olympian. I got that while you. My bad. You downstairs? Yeah, I'm coming. If you call it back, just pick up something.
Okay.
Go ahead, you continue. Just keep what you're doing after that.
All right. Calling back.
I'm coming down.
Alrighty. Sorry about that. All right, so the Iron Sheik, born in 1942. Started his wrestling career in 1972. Just trained by Vern Gagne. He wrestled for the AWA. He was also a trainer. He taught guys like Ricky Steamboat, Greg Gagne. He originally was a face, but a promoter suggests he adopt the heel look and become known as Notorious Sheik, which is how he got his signature look, which, you know, the head bald, the buffalo style mustache, the wrestling boot with the toes curled up, which was a nod to his background, which is the idea from Jimmy Snuka. He started in the World Wrestling Federation, WWF back then, not WWE, in 1979. He won a Battle Royal. He feuded with guys like Chief Jay Strongbow and Bruno Sammartino before he left in 1980. Went to Jim Crockett Promotions. Had some feuds there. He challenged Dusty Rhodes, unsuccessfully left. Went to Mid-South Wrestling. Went to Georgia Championship Wrestling in 1982. He won a tournament for the vacant NWA TV Championship. Then he comes back to WWE in 1983, challenged Bob Backlund for the Heavyweight Championship. Backlund accepts, and he defeats Backlund for the championship. They basically did that to where Backlund then submit. Manager threw in the towel so that they can succeed to Hulk Hogan, which leads to him defeating, losing the championship to Hulk Hogan, unfortunately. Then he feuded with Sergeant Slaughter, had a successful team with Nikolai Volkov under Freddie Blassie, where they won the tag team championships. Of course, we all know the funny thing about the Iron Sheik was that him and Hacksaw Jim Duggan were arrested on their way to an event with Duggan suspected of DUI. They found out that he was under influence of marijuana while Sheik was high on cocaine. They found a lot of cocaine in the vehicle. The scandal erupted because two in-ring enemies were found drinking. And together during the midst of an angle. Back then, there was real high on all the faces hung with the faces, all the heels hung with the heels, which led to Sheik getting released. He came back in 1988. Then rest of other promotions, WCCW, AWA, WWC. Went to NWA World Championship Wrestling. Came back to WWE for a third time in 1991.
Did you talk about one of the reasons why he left was getting caught with
him and Hacksaw Jim Duggan?
Yeah. And it wasn't really the reason he got fired for real. It really wasn't about the drugs. It was more about the fact it was the face riding with the heel and it broke kayfabe.
Yeah.
Or broke the idea of kayfabe.
Yep. His final match was WWE was in 1992. He left again, then he came back later for sporadic appearances. Like I said, unfortunately, he died in his home June 7th, 2023. Anything else you want to add to him?
No, man. He was a legend.
I'm going to miss them Hulk Hogan promos.
Yep. He was fucking hilarious on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? And he's like I said, he's a legend in the ring. And props to the man. If you ever get a chance, watch his documentary he has. I believe I saw it on Netflix or YouTube, one or the other.
Probably YouTube.
Yeah, but it was very good. They were talking about, how he got where he was, how he had some struggles with drugs during his time, and how he managed to kick them, and how he came into more relevance nowadays because of his persona on Twitter and such. So much props to the man. Did we also talk about the fact that it was rumored that Vern Gagne was going to pay him to break Hulk Hogan's leg so he wouldn't win that WWE title back in '83? And basically stunt the growth of Hulkamania?
No,
I guess I would say. So, yeah, rest in peace definitely to the Iron Sheik. We'll give a quick moment of silence for the Iron Sheik and Mantar. All right. Moving on with our news and notes on tonight's episode. So there's a rumor out, and I have a rumor killer of it, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this happens to come into fruition considering what's going on in the other. But there's a rumor killer out that Ronda Rousey is apparently going back to the UFC. Her contract is reportedly going to be up with the WWE very soon, and I heard she is not interested in re-signing. She basically resigned her current deal almost as a make good to the likes of those who trained her, like Natalya, Shayna Baszler, and such, to do right by them and help them get over on their way. So I wouldn't be surprised if this happens just because the greatest of all time, who knocked her ass out in 48 seconds, Amanda Nunes, the Lioness, recently retired. She got tired of beating broads up in a minute or less and having to hold her baby and take a picture afterwards. So she decided to step out. Now, I have a question for you that is non-wrestling related, and I know I don't want to get off on too much of a tangent here considering this is going to be a shorter show. But what are your opinions of this rumor killer? Do you feel like she can come back and make a significant, showing? Or will she come, on some Randy Couture shit? Or will she come back and look semi-decent but not get the job done on some Henry Cejudo shit like he did recently against Sterling? Or is she going to come back and it's like CM Punk and look like she never probably came back at all? Is my first question. My second question is, there's a lot of hype from the women that are still there right now running their mouths about this. There's some people, they said they basically eliminated 145 after Amanda Nunes retired, right? Because Dana White came out and basically said there's no more featherweight belt for the women, right?
Basically.
Okay, yeah. So there's just two now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm assuming one of those that's going to fight for one of those, the vacant ones, since they eliminated the other one. You out, buddy? Yeah. Love you, buddy. Talk to you later.
Well, Valentina Shevchenko, she gets her rematch.
Right, but I'm saying, so the other belt is just vacant? Because wait, no, there's still three, because Zhang Li has a belt.
Yeah.
So there's still three. There were four. Okay, now there's still three. All right, so that means one's vacant then, right? Vacant?
I want to say so.
Okay. I can't remember the girl's name, but you dare asked about her at a recent, like a Fight Pass press conference or something like that, talking about 145. She said it's kind of a... She said she believes she can come back, but she said she also thinks she might be looked at as a joke at this point. The other person that doubled down on that comment was Juliana Pena, who would have been the opponent instead of Irani Aldana, who got her ass whooped and was not a good showing for Amanda Nunes in her retirement fight. I would have rather seen Juliana Pena, who was talking mad, loud, cash shit while she retired from the side of the ring. If you didn't catch that, which was pretty funny too. I wanted to see the trilogy between them. If on paper, if you had to pick, she's probably the one people are gonna pick to pick up that vacant title right now, considering she was the only one to beat the woman in about a decade in the UFC at least. So, what are your thoughts on all of these things?
Okay, well, first question you said about Ronda Rousey. It's hard to say because, like I said, coming back and doing, she already went to UFC, then went to WWE. So I feel like she could transition back to UFC compared to somebody like CM Punk, who ain't had no experience in UFC. He just, went to wrestling, what's the name? I'm going to do this for show or whatever. I also think Ronda Rousey still take care of herself to where I honestly think Ronda Rousey could come back. I ain't gonna say she's gonna come back as dominant. I still think she could come back and be a player in a way though. I ain't gonna say she's gonna be like Henry Cejudo. I ain't gonna say that. I feel like
because I wasn't.
No, you wasn't shitting on.
I said it in levels like that on purpose because I thought he had a great showing, but he didn't do enough to beat the champ.
Right.
I said it in those levels on purpose because we saw how bad CM Punk was. middle of the road what I call what Cejudo did, because he didn't look bad, but he didn't do enough to get the job done. And Randy Couture, he left and came back and got another world championship. Like, so he got one of his 3.
Also,
on
too,
the comeback.
no offense to the women in the UFC, but I feel like if Ronda Rousey was to like give it her all 100%, she'd probably be better than probably 60% of the women in the division now.
Hell, I'd say 75.
Probably 70. Division
Dead
now.
serious. I'd honestly say
so
like 75.
like if she'd like go back into it full strength, like what's next? She'd probably be within like 3 fights, probably be a contender for one of them titles. Probably be a champion. Like, and that's not no knock to the other women. It's just not knock to them. It's just that Ronda Rousey still is just that good. Like, and again, wrestling keep you in shape. So it's like she ain't like she took in a break and like just like laying off and like resting or whatever. I mean, she of course was pregnant, had her baby, came back in shape real quick.
Right, exactly.
So I think she could come back. She could be a major player. Like I honestly believe Ronda Rousey would be a major player if she was to come back. Do I think she'll come back? Probably not. But never say never. Thing with Shayna Baszler, it's her basically repaying Shayna for like helping her out and everything like that. What was the second question you asked about?
You basically answered both. Like, would you think she would come back, and how she would look if she came back?
Yeah, so I think Ronda could come back and she can be a major player.
Ariel Helwani, basically the biggest media name in MMA, has come out and said there's no truth to the rumor and doesn't believe that it's going to happen. Oh, Chelsea Chandler, who I don't think I did bet on her. I think I actually betted against her. Thought about betting on her, but the odds are better against her. And plus the chick she's fighting won 4 out of the last 5 or 3 out of the last 5. Anyway, Chelsea Chandler was the one talking about it, and she said, quote, "There really is no bantamweight champion, but I'm hearing that Ronda's coming back, and I heard she's coming back at 145, so you never know," which means they would open that. He would open that division back up for Ronda Rousey. Yeah.
He created the division for Ronda Rousey his first time. Like, he created that division for her. For her, basically. Like, he admits that in interviews. He created 145 for Ronda Rousey.
No, I get it. All right, so moving on. Next, your girl, Trinity. Not Fatu, just Trinity. Has a Knockouts World Championship match coming up at Slammiversary in 2 days against Deonna Purrazzo, who is now in her second reign.
Two of my girls right there. I'll be watching that match.
During the press pass, Trinity spoke about her match with Purrazzo and said it would be a career-defining match for her. She says, quote, "That is a great question. I actually have not even asked that question of myself. I feel if I'm going into this match already thinking that I'm defeated or that I may not make it or I may not make it or may not win or I'm not capable, there ain't no match for me. I don't even need to be here. So I'll cross that bridge when I get there, but I'm not even going to get there in my mind. I need to keep my confidence up because I'm going to need every positive and focus going into that, going against her. I don't want to allow any what if or negativity to even start up or to seep in at this point. The buildup is so strong, and I just want to stay until Saturday. And I ain't trying to answer that. I'm not even going to put that into the universe because all I'm telling myself is I'm going to win. I have to win. This is my match. It's a career-defining match for me. I feel like I have the goods, the bads, the ups, the downs, and the indifference that all brought me to this moment with Deonna Purrazzo, and I have to make it happen by any means necessary." End quote. Sounds, I ain't gonna say super confident, but she's definitely not talking herself down, so she doesn't sound unconfident. And I think she's prepared going into the match. I feel like she's gonna win. I don't think so. But stranger things have happened. This is professional wrestling. Jim Ross coming back. He recently had missed Forbidden Door, unfortunately, due to some health reasons and concerns. Hopefully he'll be back for All In. Hell, I hope he's back for All Out in London, but I heard he may not make that one either. But at least All In here in the States, hopefully he'll be back for that. I know he's healing up for some recent, I believe, surgery or something. He had some health issues, we'll just say that. He's given an update recently on his podcast, Grilling JR. Says, quote, "I had a rough week on my leg, and I'm not changing doctors. I'm just adding 2 doctors. I went to one doctor who said, I have to get you to a specialist that can give you an antibiotic shot Why can't you do it? That's not what I do. They recommended me to this guy, and it's been a challenging week. I think we've made some improvements. We have a good game plan. I just need a little break. I need a little break in the action and move on. It will happen. I have good doctors with good care. If I don't get the results that we're looking for, I'll go to the Mayo Clinic and start over and see where it takes us. I'm okay. It's going to be all right. It's just frustrating as heck to have to deal with this every day. End quote. On this sciatica, or sciatic, however you would pronounce it. He said, my sciatic, I really didn't realize how crippling that it is. It's been driving me crazy for 3 days where I had a hard time even walking to the bathroom. It's not been good to the last week or two, but I see improvements. I see the direction. I have hope that it's going to be fine, and that's where we are. It's just one of those deals. I don't have any timetable on returning to work. I have to get better. I can't start traveling again. They're worried about infection and being on the airplane or at an airport with an open wound is not ideal. It will work out. I'm positive. I'm optimistic. I want to get back into the booth doing something. I don't know if I'm going to be back on Collision. My debut on Collision was not very auspicious because of my voice, which I still don't get. It's interesting. The doctor said it might be stress induced. I said, that's a weird analogy. Stress being because of my illness. I have a lot to be thankful for, and it's all going to be good. I just have to make it good. And of course, he hopes to make it to All Out and All In. I'll leave that there, not to drone on the story, so we can move on. But no, hope you get back soon, JR. We love you. Shivani says his favorite wrestler right now is Eddie Kingston, and all time, he said. His reasoning is, quote, I think probably his top moment is not really saying anything derogatory about what he's done for us, but I mean, knowing how much he loves pro wrestling from Japan and just good, I'm willing to say it probably till the day I die, he's my favorite wrestler of all time. He really is, for so many reasons. What Eddie does, seems, looks, and is real. So he just feels like he's the realest, I guess. And then finally, Brian Pillman is no longer with AEW. Brian Pillman Jr., I should say. His deal reportedly expired. I don't know if they're going to pick it up. He's decided he has left the company. He might, work the indies for a while, get his name built back up, and then come back. He was formerly in the Varsity Blondes tag team alongside Griff Garrison, and we haven't seen him compete since May. So wish him the best, and hopefully we'll see more of him in the future. Want to throw yours out there before we get into these shows?
Yes. So first news. Sergeant Slaughter says he don't watch SmackDown because Lacey Evans is on it.
It makes it sound like he's shitting on Lacey Evans.
He is still upset that she's using the Cobra Clutch and she never asked him for permission.
Wait. So when did we decide that he invented the move? And anybody who ever does it has to get permission from him. Like, you know what this sounds like? And he doesn't do this, surprisingly. That's like Bret Hart having to give motherfuckers permission to do the sharpshooter. Do you know how many motherfuckers do sharpshooters? Like, come on, man.
I mean, you have some incidents where some people will ask a wrestler to do a move. Like, I think Ricochet asked Jericho to do the code breaker when he's doing the code breaker for a little while as a finish.
That's because he's like the only one who does it.
And Jericho's like, go ahead, use it. Like, I think he said, like, you ain't got to ask me for permission to use the move. But he was doing it out of respect. I guess that's how Sergeant Slaughter feel. His words, I don't watch it as much as I did because I'm a little upset. I watch Raw more because SmackDown has Lacey on it, and I don't want it. It upsets me because I know she can't put a Cobra Clutch on like I do. But it's just the thought that she's using the move without at least, I would think the writer, somebody would call me up and say, hey, do you mind if we use the Cobra Clutch? Or maybe something else. DiBiase bought it in when I was going with G.I. Joe, and he used it as the $1 Million Dream. Didn't recall how you asked Ted DiBiase for permission to use the move when he referred to it as $1 Million Dream, and he said, you do stuff like that to show respect to the business of people that came before you. She came with a name, but just to call it the Cobra Clutch, I had to end up using the Camel Clutch when I did it back because DiBiase was using my hold. So I asked, and I said, okay, can I use your move? Oh, yeah, it'd be an honor for you to use that. It's the way you respect and telling the business, the people that you work with. I would have never used it unless he would have said, yes, go ahead. And that's because he the one that made the move famous. So I guess in retrospect, I guess you're saying Ted DiBiase kind of invented the move and you took it from him.
Now you said to show respect to those you work with, right? That's what you just said, right?
He said to show respect for the business and those who came before you.
I'm about to say she never worked with you, so what respect would she necessarily have for you to? Like, you ain't around every day. What's she supposed to just call you up? Like, I don't think it was that legendary of a move that this is necessary. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, I guess the move is synonymous to him, but I don't know. Like, there's more famous wrestlers than him who have his shit took every day, and I don't hear nobody asking them for it. Who the fuck do you just call it the rock up and said I can use the rock bottom? Motherfuckers just do that shit.
Shit, Becky Lynch called the manhandle slam. Like she the finisher. I think the Rock. I think she mentioned it. I think she want to say she asked the Rock and she used it in the Rock.
Did Britt Baker ask Seth Rollins because she used the curb stomp, or did she just start fucking doing that shit?
Start doing it. But then again, I mean, like, it's looking like they're not. Like I said, like, I think his biggest grief is the fact that, like, she could have named it something else. Like, he's saying, like I named it Camel Clutch, yeah, but Ted DiBiase was doing it first. It's called it the $1 Million Dream. But I asked him, can I use the move? I just changed the name of it. I think he's more sorry at the fact that, like, she's calling it the Cobra Clutch. She ain't like think to change the name of the move or something. I think that's what he's more salty about. I don't know. He just aired grievances, I guess. I mean, like, people use finisher moves other people moves all the time and you rename them. I mean, like,
I get it.
Should be a respect thing, honestly. I mean, I
get it.
Next news story real quick. Dominic Mysterio talks about his feud. He said that he would have had Mommy slam his mom. He talked about how he used the fact of his mom to get under Ray's skin as possible. He said if Ray would have said no after the whole incident when he told his mom to shut up, he would have had, like, real life physically, like, slam her. He talked about the thing at WrestleMania when he dumped a cup of water on his sister's head. He said that was on the fly. She was on the cup. He said I really was going to take it and drink the water that was in it. It was clear. Could have been tequila. He said it could have been vodka. He said my sister's a loose cannon, so I knew that if, like, I'll do it. So he grabbed the cup, he smelled it, it didn't smell like alcohol, so he just poured it on her head. And she wasn't too happy about it. He said I did what I had to do. Dude, so really committed to his character. I mean, props on that. Yeah.
So you're basically saying they didn't know this prior to?
That basically, no, they didn't know. Like, he did it on the fly. Like, that reaction she had, supposedly, like, what's in that? A couple more. Sonya Deville reveals her LGBTQ, and he said, was more letters to this? IPA plus or something? I don't know. Is that what you said?
That's a beer. No, I said LGBTQIA plus.
IA plus. Okay, I'm sorry. I misheard you. I'm not trying to like make fun of like that. Like, I honestly misheard what he said. I apologize for that. She said that she named her Mount Rushmore, which includes Katy Perry. Yeah, you ain't know? Yeah, Katy Perry. Yeah. You look shocked.
Since.
Huh?
Since.
Yeah,
like, I always knew she fooled around, but ain't she married to Orlando Bloom?
No, she was married to Russell Brand for 2 years.
No, she's married to Orlando Bloom now. They just had a baby. Like, a year ago.
Oh, yeah, she is. She's engaged.
See?
I mean, maybe she
go both ways. I don't know. Go ahead, continue. I'm sorry.
She may be bi.
I just made the face. I'm thinking like, all right, go ahead.
She said Katy Perry. She says RuPaul, and she says Fletcher. I don't know who Fletcher is. He's a musician. She says Katy Perry because Katy Perry been a huge advocate for the community for so long in her music. She said she used to watch RuPaul Drag Race religiously. And she said Fletcher's a musician. If you don't know, she's incredible. Oh, Fletcher's a she. I thought that was a dude. I mean, you think of Fletcher, you think of more of a dude, man. She said she makes LGBTQ music, which when you're gay and you listen to music, sometimes it's hard to relate about a guy singing about a woman and vice versa. She sings about her life and love stories, and it's relatable. So, Sonya Deville, Mount Rushmore.
Who was the fourth? I only heard three.
Someone the fourth, probably her fiance.
Who's her fiance?
Tony Cassiano. I don't think she's. I don't know much about her.
All right.
About her. But she said she followed her on Instagram. I think we did a story about how they like got engaged and everything like that. I want to say on a prior episode. Two more real quick. Lil Uzi Vert sampled Shinsuke Nakamura's Rising song thing for his album, and the actual song is called Nakamura. Which is, I don't listen to Lil Uzi Vert at all. But the song was good though. I like the song.
That was very lazy by the creators of that. And
Nakamura shared the song on his personal page.
no, I'm not saying that.
On Twitter.
Why would you just call it Nakamura? Why not call it Rising Sun or something? It's like, it's here. It's just called Nakamura.
I don't know.
This seems rather lazy. All right.
But yeah, though. So that's the song. Good song. I like the song. I still don't like Lil Uzi Vert. I just like, let me check it out. I'm a wrestling fan. Can't go wrong with one of the greatest theme songs ever. And final news. Matt Riddle's ex-wife drags him and his fiance named Misha Montana. They're having a baby.
Who?
Her name Misha Montana.
Who and who?
Matt Riddle. Misha Montana. You remember? That's his.
No, but I'll look her up.
That's who he having a. That's who he having a.
And she does
baby
the
with.
She does the smut, huh?
Yeah. They're expecting a baby. She used photo the sign that said she was pregnant. Danielle Petro tweeted out in response to the announcement, said that he never sees his own kid. She doesn't even take care of her kid with medical issues. Both non-stop party. One's a sexual abuser. The other one's a high-risk porn star who doesn't even like or want kids. I say karma did not fall on me. Best of luck. That's her statement. Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty then. Any more?
And this was her response to somebody who said, imagine willingly getting impregnated by an abuser and a piece of shit who isn't included in his already alive kids' lives. Yikes. And that's when she responded back to that. Yeah. Shit got real.
I have to check it out after the show.
So, yes.
Go
They
ahead.
got a picture, but it's not like, it's like a picture of like all three of them. I want to assume it, but.
Let me see. Yeah. We're NSFC over here. So. I mean NSFW over here. So you want to go there. So his wife is on the right?
His ex-wife is on the right, I'm assuming. The porn star chick is on the left.
I'm not hip to her, but okay.
I don't know.
All right.
That's it for all the news.
All right. Let's start off with Forbidden Door. That was me creaking it open. That was Chach. Anyway,
Yeah.
that was about as cringe as Katy Perry dancing with the Migos on Saturday Night Live that one time. You know what I'm talking about? They made all the memes about it. I already brought that up because I saw a YouTube video about it yesterday that had me dying. So, anyway, let's get into Forbidden Door. So, it was a great show in my opinion. My quick question I was going to ask you before we get into this one, or I could wait till after, but I'll ask you now. Which one do you feel was better? We were at the first one in Chicago. So I guess you could say that obviously for sentimental reasons. But which one do you feel was better, last year's or this year's?
Oh, it's a tough one. Tough one. If I had to be honest, I would personally probably say this year. Just because of the fact that fucking Kenny Omega Will Ospreay match, bro.
the card overall. We didn't even get Kenny on last year's.
I know.
Yeah, so we were supposed to get this match last year possibly. So I agree. Like I said, for sentimental reasons, I could say last year's because we were there. But this one had the better card. This one had the card I wanted. So I obviously for those reasons have to pick.
And also, too, you got Bryan Danielson versus the Rainmaker. I mean, that's another dream match.
We'll get into that because that match didn't end exactly how I expected it to. It was still a great match with a great ending. It wasn't my match of the night. It was in top 3. But yeah, we'll get into that. So Starting off, let's get into the pre-show matches. And these were the matches that were like, I felt like you were just trying to get people on the cards, probably should have been on there. And there was a lot of matches that felt like that, but the action that played out didn't feel like that, which I think was most important. So opening this show was an Owen Hart Women's Foundation first round tournament match between Billy Starks and Athena. Athena, of course, won this match after 7 minutes and 48 seconds. One thing you did see crazy out of this match, the O-Face got countered into a Death Valley Bomb. I've never seen that move countered, her finisher. So that was interesting to catch that, but she still pulled out the victory, continuing her great momentum right now as the ROH Women's Champion. In a few weeks, she will have a title match defending that championship again, I think at Death Before Dishonor, I believe is the card, against Willow Nightingale, who's also on some great upward momentum right now. Being the NJPW Strong Women's Champion. The first ever NJPW Strong Women's Champion. Formerly, don't ruin that. I'm not there yet. We'll round back on that. Later shows. Next match on the 0 hour was...
Shane Lou's on the Dynamite, or Shane Lou's on one of your shows.
No, I know she had matches coming up. I saw... They had previewed her talking about that match coming up on a Dynamite. I just forgot who it's about. I don't want to get into it now. We don't have enough time. We'll get back to that. The next match on the 0 hour was El Phantasmo, LP, my boy, against Stu Grayson. Phantasmo picked up the victory here after coming back on Grayson, who he gave him a 450 for a 2 count, came back with the springboard tornado DDT, and then hit something like Diamond Dallas Page's old pancake move with the arms held back to finish Grayson off. 7 minutes, 17 seconds. The last match of the 0 hour was United Empire taking on Los Ingobernables de Japón. Representing United Empire was Jeff Cobb, TJP, formerly of WWE, former Cruiserweight Champion, and Kyle Fletcher of Aussie Unlimited or something?
Aussie Open?
Aussie Open, there you go. And representing Los Ingobernables was Bushi, Hiromu Takahashi, and Shingo Takagi. Now you see, when you hear those names, it's like, oh, they were trying to get people in.
Yeah.
They didn't get on the main card on that one. Made in Japan wins this match for Los Ingobernables, with Shingo pinning TJP at about 7 minutes, 22 seconds. So all these matches are after around 7 minutes. Then opening the main card was the AEW World Title match between Maxwell, Jacob Friedman, and Go Ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Pretty good match.
Love the jacket. MJF jacket was awesome.
Yeah, he called on his jacket. He called New Japan the Indie. Continuing his reign as the greatest heel in wrestling. Tanahashi showed some good momentum here, but
he was losing.
Max won this match. There wasn't going to be significant title changes here. I feel like that's the next.
Now he's coming over. He's coming to these events just to lose to whoever the AEW star is.
But what I was going to say is that might not necessarily be the case. If it was a different name in there, though. I feel like the next step is for somebody in New Japan on one of these pay-per-views to win an AEW title and vice versa, and then have to go defend it over in that company. No matter how long you have the reign be. That's the next step. It's like, all right, we see we can have these matches. Now can they have those champions swap shows for those belts or whatever? Not saying a world title, but you'll probably never see that. That'd be shocking, but no, I don't know. The for example, say Zack Sabre Jr. beat Orange Cassidy for the International. You know what I'm saying? Which we'll get into that. That could possibly happen in the future. I got a feeling they're going to have a rematch one-on-one for that match, for that belt. But anyway, this match went to MJF, of course, winning after a referee distraction. He hit him with the diamond ring to retain. So a little bit of an anticlimactic ending to a very good match, though. But it was right along the lines of MJF win anyway. If he didn't punch him in the face of the ring, he would have kicked him in the nuts or something like that. Who knows? Anyway, next match. Men's Owen Hart Tournament first round. Something you didn't get on the first Forbidden Door in Chicago, which they would have loved to have gotten the first Forbidden Door in Chicago because it happened about 2 to 3 weeks later. CM Punk taking on Satoshi Kojima. This match was way better than it had any business being. They both showed each other a lot of respect. Satoshi Kojima got off the The fire, chops where he chops real fast to your chest. CM Punk had a good showing here, playing a little bit of the heel here, but eventually hit a brain buster and then setting up the GTS to take out Kojima at about 13 minutes and 30 seconds. Like I said, this match was way better than it had any business being. So I liked the showing there. Next up, international title match: Orange Cassidy versus Zack Sabre Jr. versus Katsuyori Shibata versus Daniel Garcia. A match 5 years ago you said you probably never would have saw. You wouldn't know who the hell probably wouldn't know who the hell Daniel Garcia was. And you sure as hell wouldn't expect Shibata to be back in the ring wrestling again after his injury previously back in 2016, where he split his fucking dome open. But I'm glad they are here because this made for a great match, of course. Somehow, when you get to the end of it, and I feel like there's a tension building between them that they're just not showing yet. And right now, it's just kind of a respect competition level-wise between Shibata and Orange Cassidy. But in the end of this, when Shibata did all the work, set Daniel Garcia up, hit him with the penalty kick, got Zack Sabre Jr. out of there. As he goes to make the pin, out of nowhere comes Orange Cassidy, pushes him out the win, and steals the pin and retain his title. I thought it was a pretty good four-way. Not the best I've seen of this year, but a pretty good one nonetheless. That went about 11 minutes and 30 seconds. Our next world title match. Here's my one down from this whole show, and this goes for both world title matches. One, which we already stated, neither one gave you any suspicion that the champion was in any amount of danger of losing their belt. I need to be able to suspend belief a little bit more than that. I need to feel like they're more in peril coming into this. Not once did I ever think MJF was going to lose that belt to Ace, and not once did I ever think Jungle Boy was going to pull one out on Sonata, which is our next match. That has nothing to do with Cold Stone. It has more to do with the build to the match. There was more of a build for the MJF than the Go Ace match, but this one was no build. It felt like. Then on top of that, Sonata shitted on Jungle Boy going into it. Like, how does this dude even earn a title shot? Like, and I'm like, I guess in your shoes I would feel that way. But if you were watching the product, like, nah, he's right there on your level. He's been in that contention there. He just lost a title match a month or prior before that when he was in the 4-way, the 4 Pillars match at Double or Nothing. So this match was pretty good with a surprise ending out of nowhere. So I guess he had this new move, which is a moonsault is his finisher. He set up with a Poison Rana and a Shining Wizard, and it's only got a 2 count. Went for and then after 10 minutes, 30 seconds, the match was over. Retaining his title with Sonata, surprisingly. Did hit the key lock on Jungle Boy, which was fun. I always love seeing the key lock. So it was an interesting match, but I would say I wanted more out of it because, like I said, you didn't feel any peril there because there was no, you know what I'm saying? You didn't feel the stakes there because you knew both your champions weren't really in trouble. The best part of the match was the post match. Jungle Boy is now outside. I'm Jungle Man. I'm tired of this shit. He's felt banged up. Hook came out of nowhere, to lift him up, help him up. Turns his back for a second and gets took out by Jungle Boy. Now you got the fans chanting, "You fucked up." Because Hook's coming after him, and Taz is pissed. Taz is pissed to the point, I love how they sold this. He couldn't do the rest of the pay-per-view. He was so mad, he got it from his seat and just left.
Yeah.
Which was cool. So
that was awesome.
Yeah. So I thought that played into it well. So they had Shavani do the rest of the show in his stead. Next match, Blackpool Combat Club, Konosuke Takeshita and Shota Umino taking on the Elite, Tomohiro Ishii, and Eddie Kingston. This match was set up for the fact that Kenny Omega's not going to be in this one for the Elite, so they had to pick another member for their side. Actually, they had to pick 2. And they picked Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston doesn't trust them. He says, I'm going to pick somebody I do trust to be the other member of this team, and he picked Ishii. So that made sense. Then, on the other side, since Konosuke Takeshita's teamed up with Don Callis and they screwed Kenny Omega and the Elite out of their last match against Blackpool Combat Club where he was pinned at Double or Nothing by Wheeler Yuta. Shooter's that's Moxley's boy and Red Shoe's son, in case people didn't know that. So he's teaming with them. So that all made sense. That's how the teams got to where they are. Great match. A lot of great one-on-one matchup spots with Konosuke Takeshita and Tomohiro Ishii. I love that. I wanted to see more friction between Eddie Kingston and John Moxley that we got in the match, but you still got a nice bit of it. And then surprisingly out of nowhere, Ishii gets the victory. Buckshot lariat.
That's my guy.
Then comes back with the brain buster
One
for the victory with
one-
21 minutes and 22 seconds.
Yeah, that's my guy. I like Ishii. That's my guy. One who will beat your ass and then make you make you buy him beer after beating your ass. Yeah, he's for the people. He's built like a guy like me who you don't think is athletic as hell. Like, I ain't athletic, but we're sure just brawl. We'll brawl like a motherfucker and win.
AEW's Women's title match. Now, here's another one I had a little bit of an issue because obviously the same thing applies to this match as applied to the other two. The champion didn't feel like she was imperial to me, even though she was facing a champion of another company, but nonetheless a champion. But I felt like there wasn't somebody we could have brought over from Stardom to put instead of Willow Nightingale, so you have more of a New Japan feeling in the women's match. I mean, yes, you had New Japan champion in Willow Nightingale, but I don't know. If we'd have got
You could have got some people. You got
Yoshida,
could have got Azumi if you
yeah,
wanted to.
exactly.
Starlight Kid,
Julia, one of them,
Yeah.
that'd have been interesting. Not
By
to
the
mention,
way,
Julia's been calling out AEW women's. Like, she want to come over and take their bills, talking about Tony Storm and all them, because apparently Tony Storm and Jamie Hayter both were in Stardom before.
Yeah.
So they all know each other and got beef. I want to see this go somewhere.
Well, yeah. Spoiler alert. She's the one that took Iron Gale's belt.
That's who I was thinking of. And I couldn't remember the name. I'm not surprised. I knew it.
Great match.
I heard something about her prior to, and they said she's the next. So I was like, yeah, I'm not surprised she's the one to take it off her, because I have a feeling if what happened to Sasha Banks wouldn't have happened, or Mercedes Moné, I should say. I used her slave name. My apologies. If she wouldn't have fucked her ankle up like that, I had a feeling she was gonna win that match, and then who knows? I guess dropped it to Julia. Maybe to help put her over or start a feud between them or whatever. So I think the same results would have happened, but it just been a different person instead of the champion.
Yeah, they could have. I think the thing with Stardom over there, like, don't expect nobody to really have that belt for no more than probably like 6 months at a time, probably.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Probably.
That's what I'm thinking too. In this
But
match,
they still be cranking out banger of matches though.
in this match, as I said, she put up as much of a fight she could, but she lost it. They gave him some time, but she lost it at 11 minutes. Storm Zero to retain the title for Tony Storm. Match of the night, obviously, was a freaking match of the year. Now, in my opinion, man, I want to say this one was better
It's
than
top
the
10
first
match
one.
of the year.
Both are. Both the matches between them are. That's why I was like, you have to have a third one. You have to. You have to have a third one. It is so legitimately called for. This is one of the greatest moments in the history of wrestling where you have to have a third match. There's no question to it after the first one. Not to mention there's 1-1 after those two. But the action, mwah, chef's kiss. Now, in the first one, Kenny Omega went sadistic on him, putting Ospreay's head through Japanese tables, like hole in the table, putting his head through, which he went vicious on, retained his title. This time, Ospreay said, I'm getting some revenge on you, sir. Yes, sir. Because we're running short for time, I can't get into it as much as I would like to, but just go watch the match. My words can't do it justice, which I say every time we have amazing matches. You give your thoughts on it. Ospreay wins. I guess continuing this current like downward spiral of the Elite a little bit, and with their matches against Blackpool Combat Club and Ospreay coming for revenge on Omega. Your thoughts, please.
Yeah, I mean, awesome match. I mean, also tied to the fact that
and it went 39 minutes, by far the longest match in the show. Deservedly so. It didn't feel like 39 minutes at all.
Just nonstop. It's just nonstop action. I mean, just everything in the match.
Oh my! It was so good.
It
was just so good. Shit like this is why I still watch pro wrestling. For anybody who ever asked, why am I about to turn 39 and I still watch this shit? Don't you know it's fake? Because of matches like this. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, just it just had everything in it. I mean, I forgot, you just said his name. He came out, interfered again on behalf of I'm going to say this. I'm going to go out on the limb and say this. The third match they have, as much as it's protected, he's kicking out that one wing angel in the third match. I just see it.
I can see that.
I see it.
I mean, Omega had to kick out of his own in this one, and he did it on. And I
On
feel
one
like
count.
he did it on one count on some indignant shit. Like, hold on, bitch, you ain't gonna use my move.
No, but I feel like it should always be like that though. I feel like if you in like a heated rivalry with somebody and they use your own finisher move, you should kick out on like at a 1. And then just beat they which Kenny Omega did. Yeah, I mean,
It was a great match.
great match.
Great fucking match. Ospreay wins, of course, showing as much disrespect as possible the whole time. The whole time.
Great matches. His match against Orange Cassidy was awesome. That last year's Forbidden Door.
Yeah, it was. He never fails to deliver. I feel like he fills Omega's shoes over there as top guy Jen just fine.
He wrestled all
And
the damn time.
eventually, he's gonna get the damn world title back. I know he will. I got a feeling. So next match, of course, is the semi-main, and this is basically the breather match between Omega Ospreay and then your world champion, or not your world championship, your main event match, which was Sting, Darby Allin, and Tetsuya Naito taking on Chris Jericho, Murder Grandpa, Minoru Suzuki, and Sammy Guevara. Interesting things happened in this match.
Yeah.
So the Suzuki guys instead of the Sex guys, because they added Murder Grandpa, they do the stunt moment where Jericho lays on his side, cheesing like this. All of a sudden, Murder Grandpa comes up in Sammy Guevara's spotlight, which I never expected to fucking happen in a million years. I thought that shit was funny as fuck. Great match between them. I want a future one-on-one match between Sting and Murder Grandpa.
Oh my God.
I need to have that in my life. I need that.
That's
need that
fun.
badly.
That would be awesome.
Eventually, though,
That'd be an awesome match.
Naito and Sting beat up Suzuki. Atomic drop into a roller, finishes Suzuki off. He takes the pin at about 15-minute mark. Pretty good match.
It was.
Pretty good match. Then we have our main event.
The main event.
Rainmaker! Kazuchika Okada taking on the Last Dragon. I wonder how much Tony had to pay to get the final countdown. Because they had his Ring of Honor music and everybody was loving it. I love this match for different reasons. So it wasn't what I expected, and I thought you'd get a better performance. I don't feel like it was a bad performance, but I thought you would get like world championship title defense Okada. Because Okada has levels, and we know this. We've seen Sad Okada where he wore pants and came out with that fucking red balloon, and he kept doing the fucking money clip because he refused to do the Rainmaker for some stupid fucking reason.
It pissed me off.
We've seen that, you know what I'm saying? We've also seen greatest wrestler in the world, Okada, when he's the world champion, you know what I'm saying? This leans more towards the later of the greatest champion in the world, Okada, but he didn't give me everything. So I'm hoping we get this match again, especially considering Daniel Bryanson broke his forearm in the match, and he didn't stop the match. He kept going the whole entire match. You didn't even notice that this happened. I didn't know until after. But after seeing the ending, I realized after the fact, like, oh, that's why that happened. So he was trying to put him, he was trying to get Okada into the disarmor, basically.
One thing too.
He hit him with a counter.
When he does that running drop kick, like when he like dives himself into the crowd.
Yeah,
he gotta be more careful with that, bro.
Yeah,
he did. He almost took a bunch of people out. Like last year when he did it, he almost took like a bunch of people out the front row.
I remember.
Like gotta amp it down a little bit.
There was a lot of great spots.
I get it. You can't. It's not New Japan. You can't go full New Japan speed here. You got to slow down. He go full. And just down like you took out like almost 4 people. That been a loss.
Now this match was the second longest match in the card. It went 27 minutes. 27 and a half. Deservedly so. It ended up coming down to Daniel Bryanson loading up yes kicks. Okada cut him off with a running knee to the drop kick. A landslide set up a Rainmaker, but he got a 2 count out of it. And but he missed on 2 more attempts.
I know. He hit one though.
He did hit one.
He hit one. Long as I get to yell Rainmaker, that's all that matters. Like I was like
the label,
finally.
The label lock is only the label block. He had to option it and turn it into like a double arm lock. That's because his forearm was broke.
Yeah.
He couldn't fully extend himself to do it. So the way he did it, like with his foot, as like a substitute to his other arm, and it still worked.
Yeah.
And he still got the tap. That's why I loved it. It was like he had to adjust on the fly because of a real injury, and still pulled that shit off.
You got moves like that. It can work. Like the Banks statement is another one. Like Sasha Banks could do it. Like if say she can like transition to where she can use more of her foot. You know, the crank. That's why I love submissions like that, or like arm bars, you know, like as finisher moves, because like you could just transition that bad boy to anything, like.
Not to mention, I felt like as opposed to this was the yin to the yang of the Ospreay match, which was a bloody. It wasn't a death match by any means. It was a regular wrestling match. It's just they went so hard and there's so much bad blood there between them. This was the opposite, where it was more of a classic wrestling match in the way they told the story, slowed it down just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I thought it played. I thought both played out well. I still have my reasons why Omega and Ospreay was match of the night and one of the matches of the fucking year. But
that's definitely going to match of the year.
I can definitely see this in my top 10 of matches of the year. This match too. This is a pretty damn good one too. So that was.
It can, yeah. I think it's hard because you're gonna have so many more matches. But that Ospreay Omega match, that's definitely in my match of the year, like written down. Like we'll see where the rest of the year go, where it be ranked, but it's probably gonna be top 3. Top 3.
So that was Forbidden Door. And let's talk about Money in the Bank before we get out of here.
All right, Money in the Bank. So after that great pay-per-view, WWE also had their own pay-per-view. We're gonna start with the men Money in the Bank match. Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, LA Knight. Can't even call him Puma Aces now since he's face.
He's Puma Aces for
LA
life.
Knight, yeah.
I'm not. Hey, listen.
He's still okay.
On this show, I don't call cats. I'm trying to avoid calling cats by their slave names.
LA Knight.
So that's why I call him Puma Asics.
Go
yeah. That's why I call him Puma Asics. But I think it's still both are still better than calling him Eli Drake because they just wasted him. I just saw our boy do a video about that. They wasted him. So I won't. That's even worse. So LA Knight's okay here. I'm gonna go with Puma Asics, but it's okay.
Santos Escobar versus Butch versus Damian Priest versus Logan Paul. First of all, I like the fact that they just all beat the shit out of Paul to start this match. We all know who gets the first. Who you think get the first big spot of a match like this? It's always gonna be Ricochet. He dove through a ladder to take out wrestlers. Then after that, Paul hits a frog splash. Then this one we just get big spots galore. First of all, LA Knight was so over, they was booing Butch, and he's like the London guy. Okay, so Butch hits a moonsault from a tall ladder. Then we had this scary ass spot where Ricochet and Logan Paul did like this Spanish fly through like 2 tables, which was scary as hell because the one table broke, but the other table did not. And that, if you watch it, that shit looked just so scary, bro.
Wait, which of the 2 tables? Which of the 2 tables was the one where their legs landed through, and which was the part where they're like
okay, so they had 2 tables. So the first the table right here is the one that flipped over. They crashed through the second one.
Oh, the other one just flipped over?
Like it flipped sideways and they crashed through the second one.
Oh, okay.
But like when you look at it though, like it could have been real bad. Like Logan Paul had like a big ass cut on his back from like the spot of that match. Like it wasn't like he put on this, what's the name? Like, yeah. Yeah, that Spanish fly. Then Knight's pair to had a match won as he grabbed a briefcase, but Priest came him, slammed him on the top with a broken arrow, grabbed the case, and gets the win. So he's the Money in the Bank. A lot of people was upset about the fact that like it wasn't LA Knight, but at the same time I could kind of.
Who do people ever get that actually win that match? That match is the walking version of a cock tease. Every year there's somebody that, oh yeah, he should be it, and they never.
But you know what though?
Ever. But
you know what though?
Probably since the first one when Edge won it.
But yeah, that's true. But the way I looked at like everybody was mad at LA Knight. At the same time, I was looking at like, why the hell ain't nobody talking about Damian Priest? Two, this is
because he's blocked in a faction where other people are outshining him. And I'm not saying that he's been bad in his main roster. Honestly, he's been one of the great call-ups, to be honest with you. But he's also in a faction with Finn Balor, who's going to get more run than him, and the most hated dude in the company, in Dominic. Like,
I mean, yeah, but when you look at all these
and then Rhea too.
But when you look at all these other competitors in the match, though, they're talking about everybody else but Damian Priest stuff. So that kind of one put aside my head, like maybe he might win. 2, he deserves it. I mean, you can't. The man match against Bad Bunny, bro. I feel like it's Triple H.
The match against him, the match with him. That's what I'm saying. Like he's had amazing. He's had amazing momentum since he's been on the main roster. He's been on a strategic, shot straight up. Like I said, I feel like he's one of the greatest call-ups they've had from NXT and how they've used him. So it makes sense. But no, I wouldn't have called it before the match. That wouldn't have been like my choice. No, I would have probably said LA Knight too.
No, hell no. I think we both did. We both picked Knight, but I understand why them putting it on Priest.
In the text, I texted him. I just said yeah. That's my choice.
When I understand it though, I understand why. Like, I'm not mad that it was Priest. Like, I understand why they put it on Priest. Like, I understand that. I get everybody mad because LA Knight was super over. But it probably was like super, like probably gonna be like super ass stuff. Like, nah, Triple H probably gonna. And I like that he gave it to Priest. Like I said, it's rewarding Priest. Triple H reward people for what you do. Like he reward Rhea Ripley for like when she got it. It was her reward for like everything she did like for that year. Like he basically get so like I ain't mad that Damian Priest won it, as deservedly so. Next was the tag team championship match between Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler versus Leah Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez.
Question, real quick. Now, prior to this match, did the injury to Liv Morgan happen prior to or after?
Prior. Like she came back on the SmackDown
before the show.
Challenge, yeah.
Okay.
She saved Raquel Rodriguez from getting jumped. Basically.
Gotcha.
So basically, Morgan and Rodriguez take control of the action early. Then the middle of the part goes over to Rousey and Baszler. Shayna Baszler does her. I don't know what you gotta find name. What's the name of that move? I don't think it's a name, but she like did a thing on Liv Morgan's arm. Shout out to Liv Morgan's gear though. She was wearing like the UK gear.
When she stomps her arm, I don't think it really has a name.
Has a name.
No, I don't think it has a
name. But she did that. And then we get to the good part of the match. So Baszler has Morgan in the Karavuda clutch. Liv escapes. Rousey tagged in. Then Baszler bang, strikes Rousey from behind, start beating the hell out of her. While Liv Morgan, not like the one dude that was shot when the streak was broken, but she had a shot look of her own in her face. She just in the corner like, what's the name? They finished that off. She playing ride with the Oblivion, which is funny. She beat Ronda Rousey twice at 2 pay-per-views, both Money in the Bank. in the bank. So, we got that. Next match with the Intercontinental Championship was Gunter versus Matt Riddle. The main thing on this match was Gunter basically trying to go after that ankle. Basically what it was. And, oh, my fault.
You good, homie. Continue.
Good match between the two. I mean, we all knew it was going to happen. Basically, he put him in an ankle, like, not an ankle lock, but like a submission. And Riddle basically tapped out. What happened after the match was Gunter celebrated. Out comes Drew McIntyre. Comes back in here, has a face-to-face. I like how Gunter basically did something. McIntyre got foul, Glasgow kiss, he just drops. Drop. Then gives him a Claymore. Claymore. So, that's the end of that match. Next, we got Cody Rhodes versus Dominic. This was basically a classic face versus heel. I mean, Dominic took the what's-the-name route. He basically did a lot of running around. Cody had to chase him. He had a normal spot when Ripley tried to bait him into hitting her. Rhodes countered 3 Amigos with a disaster kick. Cody cut across Rhodes. That's the end of the match right there. Next, as we come back to commercial break, we get John Cena, who makes a surprise appearance here, which definitely was a surprise because I don't think nobody was expecting John Cena. He gives a message. He talking about bringing WrestleMania to London, and how the fans need to. He said he was trying to bring WrestleMania to London, to which the fans was like crazy, like got super crazy. He basically was praising the fans, saying that like the fact that he basically was ripping WWE for saying it's a damn shame that y'all don't get more pay-per-views because this is like the best crowd ever.
Right, but guess what? That will never happen. They will never get WrestleMania.
Yeah, they won't.
Don't get your hopes up. I'm telling you right fucking now, and I don't mean to shit on your parade. It'd be dope. They could probably they would sell out Wembley Stadium for WrestleMania with more people than they could at any stadium they could do in America. And they will never do it. They will never do it. They won't, because of everything that surrounds it. That's just a whole weekend. To have to do all of that shit that they do and then move it to London, you wouldn't get the same amount of fans there. For the whole weekend and all the dough they make off of it. You'll get it for that one. Well, sorry, not splitting 2 nights. You'll get it for the 2 nights for that show. The rest of that ain't gonna get as much love. And with that being said, I think moving it over there would hurt the wrestling industry. The way it's at and where it is now, you get the people from overseas who want to see WrestleMania, they come over here and go to it. So they would just continue that. Why would you change that? Yes, it'll get you more love across seas and all that. I don't think it matters that much to them. Comes down to the bottom line. That money.
After that, Grayson Waller interrupted, and he basically, and I realized, I'm like, why is Grayson Waller out here? And then I realized, I'm like, oh yeah, he's from Australia. Australia. And it was funny you saying he's on like WrestleMania here, like here in London. He's like. He just kept laughing. He's like, you know what? No. He's like, you know, a better place would be Australia. He's like, you know what, John? You know what? You can ride my toes. I'll get you a spot on the car. I'll get you somewhere like in the beginning of the car, you know. And then he was like, wait. He's like, you're asking John Cena to do something for you? He's like, nah. He walked off. And then Grayson Waller attacked him from behind, started beating him down, then instantly walked into an attitude adjustment. Cena just basically just left. Left. Next, we get the women's Money in the Bank. Selena Vega, Becky Lynch, Zoe Stark versus Bayley versus Io Sky versus Trish Stratus. I feel so bad for Selena Vega in this match. She was just a filler. Because everybody else in this match had storyline that was going on. Like the first beginning of the match, she got trapped underneath the ladder, and they waited like 3 minutes before somebody like got the ladder off her to use the ladder to move. I was so sad. Her big spot, she had a code red on. Who did she hit the code red on? She hit the code red on Zoe Stark on the ladder, which was nice. Basically the way this goes, Stratus and Stark, they jump Lynch soon after like the entrances happened. Bayley and Sky worked together. They basically kept beating up on Lynch. Bunch of ladders, few spots. Sky hit a moonsault on top of the ladder. Then it's funny because Trish tried to take. The thing I hate, Zoe Stark literally was like basically like every time Trish would climb the ladder, this would be Zoe Stark. She'd be right here like trying to make sure don't nobody come in. Come in.
Doing her best James Ellsworth.
Yeah. Yeah. Stark grabbed a set of handcuffs, but Lynch was able to fight her off. She had one wrist. She got one wrist. She's gonna tie her to the ring post, but that didn't work. They kept brawling back and forth. Lynch had a spot where she took out Zoe Stark, then manhandle slammed Trish onto a bridge ladder on the table in the ring, which looked so painful. Trish literally was like, she hit the ladder, she just dropped to the floor. Dropped to the floor. Then we get to Vegas, she hit the code red onto another ladder that was on the rope. Scott tried to take advantage of the chaos. She's about to grab the ladder. Then Bayley knocks the ladder over. Sky falls off the ladder. She had this shot look on her face, like Corey trying to. Well, Bayley didn't know that was her on the ladder. Like she didn't know it was Sky on the ladder. Like what's the name? And Bayley trying to put the shot look on her face, like she's like, I didn't mean to call, like cost her teammate and everything like that. Then we get to the end spot. Bayley and Lynch was battling along the ladder. Sky ran back and used the other hand of the handcuff that Bayley was tied her to Bayley, and now they both on there like this. I like how she just climbed over Bayley. She stumps on Bayley and gets the briefcase. And you got the look is like Becky and Bayley both look salty as Io just got the briefcase like this, just celebrating. It was so funny.
So I was right. I picked it right on that one. All right.
So funny. Then we get the World Heavyweight Championship match. Match was kind of a little bit disappointing. I think it would have been fine. I think what ruined it was Damian Priest coming out there, and then basically teasing the cash in. It basically cost the Finn at the end because
that teases dissent between their group now.
Finn about to go for the coup de grace, then Priest stands up, And then he looks at him and says, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" Mr. Coulda Gra, Issa stomp. The end of the match for there, so Seth Rollins retains, and they basically argue like
I could have called that before the match, not the results with the Priest being involved, but Finn owed Seth that. When he got that first Universal Championship, who was it against? Seth Rollins.
It was Seth, yeah. They played the whole thing. They played the whole thing like it was 7 years, like it was Finn like, what's the name? 7 years, but yeah, that briefcase is going to tease tension between. Then, like I said, they was arguing like as Seth Rollins was like running off with the briefcase.
I do like Seth as champion again. I like this version of Seth. I hope he didn't turn into the Seth that was champion when he was like trying to battle between being a face and a heel when he's always better as a heel, or at least a tweener like he is now. Just be you now with the fucking belt.
I also forgot to mention this. They sung, first of all, props to the crowd because they sung Cody's theme song. Like they didn't do the whoa part that they did. Don't worry. The fans took care of that part for you. They sung the whole song all the way through. I don't know what the hell Don was wearing. It was like a vest, but it looked like it had like bullets on it. So I don't know if it was like a bullet. It was something like out of a video game that you like buy for show. It looked like a bunch of bullets like here. I'm like, what is he wearing? Like, oh my God, Dom. They boot the hell out of Dom too. We get to our main event with the Bloodline Civil War. A little backstory between this. So, excuse me. Okay, so we all know we had this thing going on where they're trying to get Jay to basically like kick Jimmy out the bloodline. Out the bloodline leads to a incident on SmackDown to where they basically tell Jay that like, oh, they're trying to groom him, and Jimmy like wasn't with him when it happened, and Jimmy's like, yeah, I agree, I wasn't. Then he said, "You're out, I'm out too." Super kick Roman, 3 super kicks, and this leads to this match. Like the beginning of the match, the Usos did not want to fight Solo at all. It was more like the brotherly thing. It's like that's my brother. Like they want to fight their brother. Solo said, "Fuck that." Okay, I'm it's picked up a little bit. Get to the end of the match. So Roman Reigns let his character, what's the name, in this match show. Like he had moments to where he like was dejected. Like he couldn't get he stacked him on top, couldn't get the pinfall. He looked so dejected. Solo had to basically like smack him and like, "Man, what the fuck you doing, man?" Like you the tribal chief and everything. Nice spot. Samoan spike to a double spear, which was nice. Then Jay hits a double spear on both of them. Superman punch. 1D. Solo has a spot to where he puts Jimmy on the table. And then he goes off the barricade to run, crashes right through the table. He's out the match. This lead to super kick. Reigns hits a spear. Jay kicks out with a low blow. Low blow. Hits a splash. Jay gets the win. This is Roman Reigns' first loss in 3.5 years. You know the last person he lost to? It's somebody that you like to make fun of.
Man, damn it. Damn it. Goldberg?
No.
Go ahead. We'll be here all night. We got shit to do. Go ahead.
Well, before he got his new name, his last loss was to Baron Corbin.
For real? That was like my next guess too, bro. I swear, bum ass was in the corner of my mind.
That's what I thought somebody made fun. I thought you were gonna say bum ass corner. I'm like, yep. That was his last.
Bum ass was in the corner of my mind. One of my favorite.
Loss was 3.5 years.
One of my favorite. I would say bring him back so bad.
And then the funny thing about the match was like they did after the show go off the air. Roman Reigns is on the sitting down like this, like dejected. Solo just walked off. Like, he just walked straight to the back. Ain't say nothing to Reigns. Ain't say nothing to Heyman. He just walked off to the back pissed. So, Jay Gets that pinfall. It's probably going to transition to a shot for him probably at SummerSlam for that title. And the bloodline. Storyline will still continue.
I mean, now it's infighting now, though.
But also pay-per-view by both companies. Mm-hmm. Oh, and also another thing behind the scenes too. Rogan Paul and Ricochet was fighting backstage. So we're going to get a spotty fest match probably at SummerSlam between them two, which we're going to look forward to.
Gotcha.
And that is the end of Money in the Bank.
And you know what else it is? End of the motherfucking show because it's time to go home. It's been a long ass day. There are reasons for why we haven't been here. We don't have enough time to get into them right now. But we promise you that on the next episode. The next episode will be a full, non-truncated, damn near 3 hour discussing the last 2 weeks, news, notes. We got Mount Rushmore coming back. Dark Side of the Ring came back. We're talking about the first half of the season that's come on so far, and then we'll discuss the second half of the season more towards when all those episodes play out. So we'll get into that then. But we gotta get the fuck out of here right now. So with that being said, I'm one half of your host. I am Rob.
I'm Clint.
And this has been shortened version, # Wrestle Corner. Mr. Simmons, it's time for you to send us home, sir. There he goes.
Queen shit, blue chip shit, Noki with the ring, yo.